Mohanji. Welcome to yet another session for our chanting and where I would like to talk about something. So, what's the topic today? Last few days have been pretty overwhelming for me and few of us um, who are actively engaged in COVID volunteering. I wouldn't call myself very actively engaged, but there are others whom I know, my co-volunteers who are very, very active and working on getting availability of hospital beds, oxygen, medicines, critical medicines, supplies for the attendants and helping them in getting this data. And it's been extremely overwhelming, when you see the situation outside around you, and it is right at our doorstep right now in India. I happen to be in Bangalore, Karnataka, which is one of the top 5 states affected. In fact, Bangalore would be the top second, or maybe right now the top second city affected in terms of the number of active cases of COVID. So, what do I want to talk about? This morning, I had a few discussions, and one thing which I thought I really want to talk about is closure. Closure in terms of any situation, and what does it mean? When I So, in fact, there are two different aspects of closure. One is closure of a situation related to a professional relationship, whether it's a deal, it's a project, it's a job, it's a task, it's an activity, which can be both in terms of the professional environment or in terms of having those tasks assigned to people at home and having them, chasing them to close something. The second is closure with respect to human relationship, you know and that's where I'm feeling very solemn today, because again, there are human relationships which don't work and they break up, and more often than not, the healing takes a lot of time between the people who have broken up, because there's probably, they feel there hasn't been the right closure in terms of how they parted ways, and closure in terms of when your loved ones go away from this world, pass on to higher lights, and you are not able to touch, feel, or see them up close for the last time. And this situation has aggravated, due to COVID, because we do see a lot of cases around us where I see that there have not been the right closure in terms of people you have lost. And that makes me very solemn. Um, and that also makes me highly grateful for the situation that I am in today, for the fact that my family is safe so far, and my friends and their loved ones are safe. But there have been a few that I know who have lost their loved ones in this COVID situation, where they have not been able to meet them for the last time, and therefore in their minds that closure is still pending. So when this topic came up to me this morning, as I was contemplating what to talk about, I sent a message to my Guruji, Sri Mohanji. He's in Europe right now, and I didn't give him much of a notice. So I asked him a simple thing, that why is this element of closure so important in the human mind? And once I get an answer for him, I will definitely post it as a follow-up to this video. But when I contemplate on this, I think the reason being that we human beings have a pattern of of looking at every situation like a journey. So there is a purpose of why you start the journey. There is a beginning to the journey, and then there is an end, right? And that end, so we have these situations defined in our mind, that this is how every situation should happen, and this is not what we have done in our lifetime, but over last lifetimes, over humanity, historically humankind have defined that when a child is born, then the child grows up, then the child goes to school, then the child becomes an adult, then the child gets married, and the child has to have their own, so the adult has to have their own kids, and therefore the journey continues. So there is a pattern that we have defined, and there is a schedule of things, and therefore going back to what I spoke about last is that spaces of energy and time has memories. So these memories of or patterns have been defined in our framework, society framework, and therefore when it doesn't follow that pattern, and when you lose a loved one and you're not able to hug for the last time or see the person up close or do the things that you're supposed to do as per your customs and rituals, then that closure in our mind, in our system is not there. And therefore, how do we kind of come to peace, or how do we heal ourselves? I think one of the ways, and again this is my thought process, and as I said, when I hear back from Mohanji, I will definitely come back and answer it in his own words. But in my mind, I feel that this closure uh, uh, can be done, or this healing can be done to a large extent by living the principles of the person whom we lost, and by doing things that they would have done, or what we thought is they would not they would have left unfulfilled, and therefore fulfilling their journey or their wishes is one of the ways which I feel one can heal themselves. So that is in terms of human relationship. The second aspect is in terms of the second aspect is in terms of the professional environment, right? So now in the professional environment, it is a very defined process, and there again, closure is very important in terms of tasks, in terms of strategies, and in terms of to reach to the next level, or to reach to the next set of goals. Um, in fact, when I switched my career from finance to sales, that was for the first time where I learned this word closure in terms of the professional environment. And I'm really thankful to all the seniors that I had at that point in time, uh, who kind of guided me on the transition one from sales to finance, and who also told me why this aspect is so important, because a sales is a very target oriented role, and then when we define the targets and then we have to reach those targets, um, it is very important to keep our eye on the end goal, and it is always important to keep strategizing in your mind what brings closure of the end goal, right? And that is how there is something in sales. We have something, so we have stages, right? We have stages of identifying an opportunity, qualifying the opportunity, identifying the people, or we call it heat mapping, who will help us in getting up close or qualifying that opportunity further. And then when all of this is done, then you actually put a proposal forward, and then you do everything in terms of speaking to your set of potential customers, talking to them about the scope of work or the pricing, to get to close that business deal in your favor, and do everything possible so that it does not go out of your control. So that was the professional definition of closure in when I first learned about it in my transition. And it also taught me a very important aspect in my life, that it is very easy to open up situations or to open up an opportunity in your life, but it is very difficult to keep to on the path, on the identified path, and close it successfully, fruitfully. And this is also very relevant when you're working on any project, or when we are volunteering for that matter, that we identify a cause and we want to support that cause, and we create a lot of noise around it, we get attention to the cause, but then finally, what is the objective of that cause, and how do you get the resources around you and eventually close that cause with the kind of outcome desired. So, and when I do my volunteering work, I think the lot of the project management which comes naturally to me is also because of the sales training I've had in my career. And again, for that I am, as I keep repeating, grateful to a lot of seniors in my earlier organization who spend that time in mentoring me in these aspects, in the aspects of leading a team, in the aspects of project management, in the aspects of negotiating in a situation, in the aspects of identifying through either words or body language what the end customer wants, and therefore how do we successfully meet the requirement, within by putting in the resources that we need. So these are all important learnings in life, and whether it is a professional environment or a personal environment, um, the principles remain the same. The modality of reaching the end goal may keep changing, but the principles remain the same. So yes, this is what I want to speak about. It's a vast topic, and I can go on, but I would like to keep it limited, because the main objective was to what should I say, educate or tell people that yes, there is a concept of closure. Sometimes we are not even able to identify that it is that concept of closure which is stopping us from moving from situation A to B. And the element of closure is very important when we are healing ourselves out of a situation, whether it's a relational situation or a relationship based situation or any other situation in our personal life. And it is also very important in our professional lives when we want to move from activity A to activity B, or goal A to goal B, and eventually reach the goal post, right? Um, and therefore, how do we identify? How do we contemplate and identify what takes us towards that closure? With that, I will move on to the chanting. And as I keep saying, that those of you who would want to chant with me, please feel free to chant with me. We are doing the 108 Gayatri Mantra, but if due to your faith or your individual practice, if there is any other chant that you follow, please do that. Please continue with that chant, right? And if you're not able to do the entire 108 with me, do as much as you're comfortable. The rest of the time, you can just keep the audio on to listen to the vibrations, to feel the vibrations. Praying that everyone on planet Earth gets their share of peace and safety at this point in time. Praying that Mother Earth calms down and blesses us with infinite possibilities of what the future holds. And praying that from the incidents that has happened in the last 14 to 16 months, we as humankind have learned that there is an element of Mother Earth and nature that we need to respect, and we need to follow the routines of nature so that we can avoid such pandemics in future. With that, we chant. ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurvuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. It was quite an overwhelming session for me, as I said, primarily because what I've been seeing around me for the past few days. All I can say is I'm extremely grateful for what I have, the people I have in my life, the fact that they are safe, the people who work for us, the fact that they and their families are safe, our friends and their loved ones are safe. And I pray that the same energy continues and is exchanged with everybody whom I know, whether directly or whether indirectly. I pray for the safety of all humankind. With that, stay at home, stay safe. Jai Mohanji.